So try to make them not go back into the wave. Try to focus on one shape. And you're not going to succeed for a while, but eventually you'll succeed. Keep breathing. Keep using the breathing techniques all the way through. All right. And when you think you have the shape in complete focus, try to make it disappear. And usually what you'll see is, at least this is what I've experienced, you'll see an intensity of the shape or image or whatever it is. And you'll start getting like peripheral light around the edges of that. And that will distract you. It'll make you try to look away from the shape. Don't look away from the shape. Make it disappear. Keep breathing, and just keep working on making that shape disappear. I think if you go through that exercise, like, it will teach you how to balance your mind in a way that, you know, will allow you to get the full benefit from meditation and psychedelics and all of these things.
Well, one thing that I've been able to, just in terms of using it like as a mental focus, there's one sequence of images that I make myself experience that starts out with me horizontally and then vertically dividing the field, then splitting it into a third. But as I split it into a third, I'm able to use the way that it changes shape in my mind to create kind of like a torus kind of donut shape. But it starts out as two pyramids touching each other, like tip to tip at the tops. And then that bleeds out into a torus. And then usually the exercise is over. Like there's stages to it. But I find that by intentionally reproducing the exact same sequence multiple times like that, it helps me focus quite a bit.
It's like a
Suppose,
mantra.
yeah.
It's just, you know, there are different traditions. There's different traditions about how to explore one's own like mental state. Like I've always found like the traditions that promote stillness and emptiness to be the most valuable for me.
Well,
Some
I'm way
traditions
too.
don't.
See, I don't know. Like out of all the, like the pagan deities that I think I identify with the most, I've always really liked Odin. Okay, but the thing is one of his key things is restlessness. That's one of these traits associated with it. And I don't think I'd be doing very good embodying that if I did things that were the opposite of that. Like an energy that comes from the restlessness, I think is kind of the issue. I've never
It's
really saw much value in like slowing down in that regard.
Well, emptiness isn't about slowing down. It's just about like not being. It's about making that shape disappear by like just experiencing each moment as it comes. It's not about
I
eliminating
guess that's
perception
hmm.
or limiting it. But I don't know, like people often decry symbols. They think that they confuse religious sentiment with symbolism. Symbolism can be a valuable tool for people, and it shouldn't be so easily dismissed or mocked. Like, for some people, like you said, like Odin means something to you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, this is the way the
Oh,
human mind works. It creates, like you were talking about earlier, these archetypes. There's nothing wrong with that. It's when we start to confuse like these archetypes with, you know, quote unquote the objective world. I hesitate to say that, but that's when the danger comes in, when we start to try to impose our own visions of what these things are onto other people.
yeah, like you know, just so you know, for example, like a weather god might be a perfectly valid symbol in terms of you coping with your place in the universe. But if you actually think trying to directly appease them like a personified entity, and that's your big plan to save the day, I got something to tell you. I also have some beans that you might be interested in buying.
Well, I would even let that slide. If someone wants to believe that this storm god's going to come along and save them, then that's cool. But when they start burning people alive because no one else believes it, that's when we run into problems. Or when they start looting the village, because if you don't give me money, the storm god's going to come.
Right.
That's when we run into fucking problems.
Before we keep going, I just want to say hi to Dave. Dave, is there anything you want to say?
What's up, Dave?
I haven't seen you in a while. Thank you for helping out with the entire Unity for Jay online vigil. That's great. A lot of people coming out.
Number one, you're welcome. There is some pretty huge news, but I can't reveal it yet. So teaser.
Who's going to reveal it?
Dave's joining the TYT network.
That's me.
You're going to reveal it?
I'm going to reveal it
Okay.
next week.
Okay.
You may already know, but I really can't say exactly what it is. Let's see what has happened. There's Unity for Jay. Anybody who hasn't seen it now, it's 2 days worth of interviews. Just watch the clips that are coming. There's some excellent editing, and there's some amazing interviews. This has to be somebody that that you like somewhere. One of the brilliant things that was done is that there were people of all ideologies and all opinions. Second off, I understand, Gordon, what your symbol there means. You're operating a chain of chicken joints. So, yeah. Symbols are communication. It's like, let's see. I have officially joined the Green Party. I am an officer. I am the representative of the town of Babylon for the Suffolk County Green Party.
Town of Babylon? Oh, my God.
Jesus Christ. All in with them.
That's pure synchronicity right there.
Have you not seen my shows?
I didn't name the stupid town.
Fucking traitor.
Babylon. All right, and let's see. I'm researching a lot of local news now. There's some 555 Aviation. If you've heard of these guys, they just bought a plot of land. There was a college that went under 2 years ago, Dowling College. Brookhaven campus had an aviation school, and they were, I don't know how large. I think it's like 600 acres. It's huge. For $14 million, they bought this, and they're talking basically about mixing West Virginia and Las Vegas. They're talking about petrochemical, nuclear, alongside gorgeous residential and casinos and an amusement park. I swear to God. So there's a huge fight. This is in Calverton. I will be revealing a lot of details on that. I just went on a local radio station, started talking about some stuff, talked about a local nurses strike. This really sweet lady, her name is Zabby, from Stony Brook University radio station, basically. WBSU. It's the Stony Brook University radio station. She also has a public access television station.
Yes, University.
This Stony Brook.
I know. I'm just making fun.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you're trolling your own show. It's hilarious.
Oh, damn it. I knew there was something up with that.
And she wants me to go on her public access tomorrow and talk about this, 555 story. Here, Trump is upset with, Nader Bargesian is the guy's name. and he is one of 4 brothers. Harpo, Zeppo, I don't remember the other 3, but they are basically the Koch brothers, Canadian, Iranian, and they own the Mall of America in Minnesota. They're involved with the Meadowlands Project in Jersey. They're all over the place. And they just came in. They came in like, this guy came in like Mr. Potter and just, tried to snow people, and they're fighting it tooth and nail. So we'll see, we'll see where it goes. But I don't even know. I'm kind of in a haze. I'm sure there's other stuff.
I'm sure there are other people who are in a haze here too.
So, yeah, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff going on. But and one of these days I'm gonna, get my chance. I'm so busy with trying to organize the content that I'm not too worried about the channel as of yet. So
worry when it happens. When you have to worry about it, it's just
when it happens.
We're just ourselves, right? We don't have a team, so pick your battles.
Yeah. Screw you, Evan! Don't tell me what to do.
Let's start up another one.
Yeah, why not? What was it?
Guy.
Yeah, Coke versus Pepsi. He's drinking a Coke.
Oh, I drank Pepsi today too.
Cool.
I didn't eat anything, so and I had to drive my son. I had to go run an errand, and my son was sick, and so I ate at Pizza Hut, and they only have Pepsi. Yeah, Pizza Hut.
Yeah,
it's just quick, just something quick.
Botulism Pizza.
Yeah,
that was the original name, but the whole vigil for Julian, they were talking about how a bunch of different people were talking about how the media tries to pit one person against the other based on something completely trivial. Colgate versus Crest toothpaste, chocolate versus vanilla, Coke versus Pepsi, or and listen, I'm not
great, less filling, etc.
Yeah, Tim Black with his Donald Trump versus the Eagles. 10 guys were going to show up to that stupid parade or White House visit, and Trump said, no, it's not worth his time. It's like the Philadelphia Eagles are going to come over and beat Trump's ass, or, Trump's going to try to, beat him in a football game by himself. I heard he has a rotator cuff injury. His throwing arm isn't as good as it used to be. It's like, I'm sure there are other stories out there that
Focus
are
on Trump 24/7. That's the solution to all of our problems.
So I don't know if you guys heard about that pedophile running in Virginia.
I saw his picture and read like the YouTube newsline on it.
There's a deeper story. There's a deeper story to that no one's told. I mean, I told Jamal about it, and I asked him to cover it, and he said absolutely. He covered it for like 5 minutes, which was the appropriate amount of time. Deb Della Piana also did a piece on it. There's a couple of things that people are missing. Number one, he threatened the president. He threatened to shoot the president. I believe it was G.W. Bush. So he was in jail on that. He admitted to raping his wife. He admitted to being a pedophile. What people don't know is the whole reason that he can run is that the then governor, Terry McAuliffe, pardoned like God knows how many people and allowed these people to vote. You can't run if you can't vote. So in doing that, Terry McAuliffe allowed this guy to run. Now, first off, don't vote for him. Don't give him that much press. I'm going to shut up about it soon. And be very, very careful when you have progressives talking about giving felons the right to vote again, because you will get this. this is the kind of stuff we need to talk about.
Well, like, I mean, the problem with that is we're talking about, like, there's a hell of a lot of drug and gun felonies in the country. Yeah. Non-violent gun felonies.
Right.
So, I mean, I believe that a lot of felons should have their right to vote returned. Are we going to give it to child molesters and whatever? No.
So that's,
well, we just did.
I disagree with that.
Isn't there like a decent size of isn't there a part of the progressive community that's trying to push for pedophilia acceptance, though? I mean, a lot of people on right-wing websites say that they are, but that could just be fake news.
No, Nathan Larson was one of those people that was pushing for that. He actually had a website. When he publicized it, it was immediately taken down. It's like Petalocalypse or some nonsense. I don't know the damn, whatever. But
Petalocalypse.
That's
a horrible name.
Watch Jamarl's 5-minute piece on it just to hear him try to pronounce it. In the middle of it, he was like, "Oh, Jesus Christ!" I had to watch it like 5 times.
Oh,
so the topic itself is a great discussion to have with ex-felons who serve their time, whether they should because I mean, you serve your time, you should become a member of society again, not be ousted. But then again, our justice system isn't quite fair and balanced.
Well, that's an interesting question. Would Donald Trump allow Michael Vick to come back and visit him in the White House, but not these 10 Eagles? Because
who gives a shit, man? Who gives a fuck what Trump?
Come on, man. This is very important.
CNN, 24-hour news.
And I don't watch much of the guy from TYT, the atheist guy. He's pretty good sometimes, but
I gotta say that they said this whole thing about Kyle Kalinski's fans turn on him. I guess I didn't like Kyle Kalinski's fans because I'm starting to watch him again and I'm starting to like him again.
Yeah, I mean he's pretty smart. He hasn't really changed his way he does things.
He's backed off of some shit. Number one, for a while there, he was like, "You're either with Justice Democrats or you're fucking against us." Like he was doing that shit, and then
like deepest high school football rules.
And then then I think getting like that whole situation with Justice Democrats kind of woke him up to reality a bit.
Well, when his hero got kicked off the Justice Democrats,
yeah. So, anyways, what I was trying to say was he was on Fox News, and they brought him on, and their question to him, the original question was, "What do you think Trump's thinking?" And rather than answering that, he just went on and just kind of corrected a previous comment that another commentator or analyst was saying. So I think he did well. I mean, but that's mainstream media. It's like, what do you think this person's thinking? It's like, how do I know? And why do we care?
I would have loved for him to have pulled a Portia Bulger moment right there. I don't give a fuck. I don't fucking care.
Do you guys think that society has actually moved to the point where, let's say they shut down the internet because they can't control it, and they say, okay, you have to go back to watching cable TV.
Oh God.
Do you think people would actually go back to doing it, or do you think people would just find better things to do with their lives that we're at this point?
People would go back to doing it.
Really?
Yeah, they would.
I couldn't imagine myself doing it.
Mass media.
Because they don't want to go out in the real world and experience it and breathe whatever the hell is going to be. Oh God, my asthma. It's like, you don't want to go out in the freaking damp air because your shoulder's going to start to hurt, or you don't want to go out where it's hot. You want to stay in your central air. You don't want to experience anything. You just want to have that comfort shield. You just want to be kind of comatose in your world. And that's why people
have a point.
Drug addicted.
Because like I have my secondary channel, which pretty much only did this when my main channel got that 3-month strike.
You've been a bad boy.
Yeah. And this, so I had like 100 subscribers or something like that. But here on this channel, I've got like 900. That's because I used to have fishing videos. People love watching fishing videos. Like I would just go fish all the time. I'd be fine with the internet being down. And the world being back into the dark ages.
You know what? It's a great idea just to have some random boring thing. I want to get a channel of nothing but random people coming on and giving the finger, and then just and then just shut it 5 seconds and just see who I can get.
But you got to what you should do is actually have like a picture and give their reaction. Their only reaction is just their middle finger or a thumbs up or something. So have a picture of Hillary Clinton and you can have a thumbs up. Have a picture of some policy.
Yeah. Oh, rock, paper, scissors, lizard, Spock, middle finger. Something like that. But yeah.
What book is your cat reading?
What was that? Cat?
What book is
your video or your audio went out?
Yeah, your cat was reading a book there. I wanted to know what it was reading. It was up on top of something. There.
Oh, yeah. Dark Money? She's ready to attack the Koch brothers. So
you mentioned earlier about having some in West Virginia is where you are, right?
No, I actually live on Long Island.
Oh, okay. Because I remember you talking a minute ago there about these two Canadian billionaires who are coming and doing some development people there don't like. That's what happens when you have merit-based immigration. In Canada, we have merit-based, right? So that means that rather than replacing our working class, we're replacing our upper middle class. And you see the exact same effect happening here, where our medium businesses and small businesses don't even have the opportunity to turn into large ones because people are coming over with like 50 to 100 million in their accounts because, there are wealthy people leaving their country and just buying up every possible bit of real estate you could use to develop.
Well, this guy is actually based out of Canada. I can find out his business.
No, I'm in Canada.
Right.
That's what I mean, though. We have a similar problem here, yeah.
Well, that's the main reason why the blue chip properties are going into the stratospheric levels here in the U.S. is foreign buyers coming in. A lot of Chinese buyers buying up these multi-million-dollar condos and properties.
Well, if they didn't do that, we wouldn't have jobs, Gordon Gnome. That's the trap, by the way. That's the trap that these Bargesian guys are saying because they are creating all of these. Oh God, I got to see the term again. Something like power energy. It's like power energy. We're in the power energy business. What the hell does that mean? And we're going to train you, and you're going to have good money and good jobs. The only thing.
The problem
I don't know if the money's going to be any good.
Money doesn't mean shit if you're dead.
I mean, you create
poisoned.
You create such a bloated blue chip market, okay, and you combine that with gentrification of inner cities, and what happens is not only do you drive like all the people out from that area for blocks and blocks around because they can't afford rent anymore, right? The property values have gone through the roof.
Right.
But it also allows you to create and pop these damn bubbles whenever you want. And that's how a lot of these people make their money is by creating and popping real estate bubbles. And sometimes it gets out of fucking control and you get a 2008.
Now, part of the fight is not only do they want to put these massive, there's like 4 businesses. It's petrochemical, it's natural gas, it's all these what is it? I'll get the article. If I can find it, I'll get the article. Water filtration chemicals company, but right next to these buildings, they want to put massive housing. So what sounds to me is they're trying a gentrification project in on Calverton, Long Island, trying to get all these people together and maybe to poison them right next to these horrible, plants. What does it matter?
I mean, they're kind of a rezoning, like they're industrializing the area is the way it sounds.
That's exactly what they're doing. Now, this plot of land, I didn't even realize this, but this plot of land used to be owned by Grumman. So I'm like, oh, God.
Northrop Grumman, what were they doing with it?
Oh, hell, I don't know. Burning puppies. I have no idea what the hell they're doing.
Chemical bombs. Let's make a new kind of chemical bomb. They're illegal, but
my own cat is mesmerized by my wealth of quarters. Look at this. No, don't eat the quarter. All right. Oh, Perseus Gold has not met my cat, Barbara Gordon, my three-legged cat. So,
was it born that way, or is there an accident?
It was a defect. Apparently, she was born on the Northrop Grumman plant. No, she had a defect, and she had to have one of her legs amputated.
Aw.
But she's a sweetheart.
I have 2 dogs. One of them just got bit the other day. It was crazy.
Did the baby bite the dog and had to be put down? No, I'm sorry.
No, no, it didn't bite anything. It got bitten by some other person's dog.
Okay.
It's fine though. It was just superficial in the end. But I've noticed a whole lot of people not taking leash laws seriously these days. Like, not just locally, but in general. Oh, hey, Eric.
Hey, Eric, what's up?
Hey, everyone, how's it going?
They don't take freaking running pedophiles seriously, and they're going to worry about dogs.
I mean, what is up with that? That's like the second one in a year. Like, there was that dude in, what was it, Louisiana or wherever?
Roy Jones and what's his face? In Alabama. It was Alabama.
And what's the deal with this
Roy
dude?
Moore, yeah.
Like, I don't know all the details. He
was creeping on teenage girls.
Ugh.
Roy, whatever. Whatever his name was. I don't want to get the name wrong and then have Evans sued by whoever.
And then the other day, like, there was this kid on some news show, some interview show, right?
I have nothing to do with what he said, just so you guys know.
And by the way, David Hogg's address and phone number is, no, I'm just playing. But David Hogg, did you hear David Hogg got doxxed? He got doxxed.
Surprise, surprise.
I don't know if he self-doxxed himself or if it was legitimate.
It sounds like people called the SWAT team to his house.
Yes, but did someone do that because the publicity has been waning away from this guy, so maybe it was a plant, maybe not. I'm not saying it was, but immediately I thought that, like, this guy doesn't want to go away. So, but there were like helicopters and press crews, and there were jugglers, and I think Pamela Anderson showed up, Kanye West.
He's just some kid.
Concert.
No, he's not just some kid. Look at who his parents are.
Yeah,
the whole thing is just stupid. Like, the national focus on this individual, or whether you want to refer to him as a kid or whatever, is beyond absurd. It's another goddamn watch the circus, watch the monkey game. Maybe this kid wants to stop playing it. Maybe he doesn't. Like, I don't give a fuck. I'm tired of hearing about that kid. It's disgusting because, like, there is a problem with mass shootings in the country. And this kind of shit, this watch the monkey shit, keeps us from solving the problems. It's yet another barrier in the way of us solving the fucking problems.
But doxing is wrong, and it just puts the focus back on the monkey. Next on CNN, Dave Denton calls David Hogg a monkey. No, I'm just saying, you know.
I think it was Trump's fault.
Maybe. I think
what do you guys think?
I think it was the Philadelphia Eagles, personally. You know.
Let's go to our correspondent at the White House.
What does my cat think? Oh.
It looks like it thinks it wants to get put down.
We've got a $20 million crew and we're spending $400,000 an hour parked out in front of David Hogg's house.
Yeah, it's like no wonder they need to shut down the internet. Like, holy crap!
What a disgusting waste.
But the joke is, okay, like this is the thing that I don't get. It can't be the people up top who care about this in the sense that it's all just like in terms of the profit margin. Because think about it, the news is way more important as a means of social control. It doesn't need to turn a profit. So they're just going to keep putting out whatever crap they think is going to serve their purposes. It has nothing to do with it. Just like once all the money is already out of circulation, and I mean like, okay, let me rephrase that. I jumped ahead like 2 paragraphs. Okay, so why does it even matter if they have enough money to control society already out of circulation? So, okay, so all this money is being printed, inflation's going up, but a lot of the money is staying out of circulation. So they don't need any of their business endeavors to be successful. Look at, say, Marvel, for example. Marvel is shooting itself in the foot with all the SJW stuff being pushed in the comics. The fans obviously don't want it. There's a huge backlash against it, but they still keep hiring the same writers and artists who are pushing that particular message. So clearly Marvel isn't existing in order to make a profit. It's existing in order to push those messages. And
same thing
considering
with Star Wars.
Their market share, they don't need to actually turn a profit every year or every other year or every quarter. They can just keep taking a loss to push their ideology, even if it only reaches a small number of people.
And that's the price of consolidation of power. What does Marvel and Star Wars have in common?
I like politically correct man. He just puts his finger up. That's his superpower. No.
I think you've gone too far, though, because he was a man and he had a hand. That's very non-inclusive to trans-abled people or whatever.
What I'm loving about this whole thing is that because I watch like Geeks and Gamers, right, and a couple of other shows. It's not like he's alt-right or anything like that. He just doesn't like this SJW agenda, and he's just open. His eyes are open. And it's
just like me. I just don't like the SJW propaganda culture agenda. Yeah. That's what it is.
And I just love how these typical, just normal people who just want to do reviews on movies are just starting to push back now and saying, hey, they're pushing this again.
Wow.
This is why it's failing at the box office. This is why it's failing at the toys. You know, the toys aren't selling, etc. This is what they're saying in the media. It's just, and the critic reviews, it's just all BS.
Not one, but today, 2 Canadian newspapers ran pity pieces about Rose Tico.
Yeah,
it's just a complete disconnect. Like, there's the coasts and then there's the interior of the country. And like 90% of whatever, there's a giant percentage of Americans that are Christian, right? It's a bad move to come out and say that Han Solo is a pansexual and advertise it all over the place.
No, it was Lando.
Lando, sorry.
I heard from the people who watched the movie is they don't really say he was or not.
Yeah, but remember there was that, like, that's just bad press. Why would you do that? It's just dumb press. But it reflects their ideology. They're more interested in pushing their ideologies, and
it's a preachy culture.
If Lando was a pansexual or whatever, that's not the point. The point is you're developing a commercial property, and you have to understand your audience to some degree.
Well, I mean, I guess they really don't, though. I mean, they're still a wealthy company. They're not going anywhere. They have too much momentum behind them. Like, I don't think it's actually sure. People might not watch it anymore, but as an institution, nobody who works there at a high enough level to actually have a say in the decisions is going to feel any repercussions for it at all. It's just the same lack of accountability.
The The family attendance was down by like 80% or something from this for the Solo movie. And a large part of it is being attributed to just that one comment.
None of it matters. None of it matters as long as the characters eat shawarma at the end. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. But
they've ruined that franchise. Like Disney has gotten a hold of these franchises and it's ruined them. It's ruined Marvel. It's ruined Star Trek. It's ruined Star Wars.
You know, I think the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the MCU, isn't that bad. They're not going this full SJW route. They are going very occultist, but they're not going the SJW route.
Cool. I haven't seen the Infinity Wars movie yet.
Oh, it was good. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I mean, we all know what's going to really happen, so it doesn't really matter too much.
It kind of goes that Beyonder route where, you know, he kills everybody, but they're not really dead kind of thing.
Yeah, the next movie, everyone's going to come back, so don't worry.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But as long as the hot green chick comes back, I'm happy. You know, I don't care.
And a lot of
sorry, was that politically incorrect?
Here's my prediction: is there's going to be a few key characters that are alive now, like Iron Man, the actor. Yeah. He's not going to be Iron Man forever. He just doesn't care too much. He wants to move on. I think there might be another actor that is the same. So what's probably going to happen is they're going to sacrifice themselves to save everyone else, and that just opens up a whole new. It brings back everyone, but someone did actually die, and he's not going to show up again.
Well, the real problem with these Disney properties isn't necessarily the fact, even the SJW stuff. It's the fact that Disney is putting in writers and creative controllers who don't understand the stories and they don't understand the characters. They've come out of nowhere. They've had no experience with these things, and Disney's putting them in place.
It's like they're putting like their own fan fiction shit into it.
Exactly, Eric.
Well, okay. Back when I was a comic nerd, back in the 80s, maybe kind of 90s, the Marvel stories themselves had so many sub stories, and some of them conflicted, that they created their own fan fiction within their comic books, because some of the stuff, people would be like, no, in Avengers 234, he couldn't have, because he was wearing purple pants. He wasn't wearing green pants, crap. So some of it conflicted anyway. Marvel, to me, they love that. They love the reboot, or they love reimagining. It's not really fan fiction. Now, if Superman was rebooted as a gay guy, then yeah, that's like a completely different thing. No offense to gay people, but he's been heterosexual the whole time.
Instead of Lois Lane, it would be Louis Lane.
Right, exactly, that kind of thing.
Well, the comic book movies do a pretty good job of staying true to the characters.
Right.
I guess more like what I'm referring to are the Star Wars and the Star Trek movies, where they're like, they go off the rails, and J.J. Abrams doesn't really seem... his damn fucking ridiculous mystery box theory.
All they had to do to save The Last Jedi was actually make Rey turn and go with Kylo, kill Snoke, and then they just do their own thing together. It's like nowhere in her, like, here's the thing with her going and siding with Kylo, nowhere in that chain of events did that mean that they still had to kill her friends. She could have been in charge enough to have her friends not be killed. Like, it's just such lazy storytelling that they have to go with her. Because here's the thing. What would the actual person who has to write the next movie do to actually go back to the formula if they let the movie end that way? I guess is really the problem. because a main character with agency setting their own plot is something that Hollywood movies almost never had. The heroes are almost always a reactionary force in these types of stories. And having the heroes be a proactive force that are actually setting the pace, with the villains being a reactionary force. Like, wasn't the First Order supposed to be like ragtag? You know, they have like one base, like they've been almost defeated completely, and then all of a sudden they just dominate the galaxy again. Less than 72 hours has passed from the beginning of The Force Awakens to the end of The Last Jedi. I think something like 4 or 5 days at most could have passed.
I don't know.
So how did like the entire power dynamic of how the whole universe works doesn't even make sense on that alone. So whatever.
Well, the basic production is screwed up. Was it The Last Jedi that Ron Howard had to come in and take?
No, that's Solo.
It was. It was
Last Jedi was episode 8, where it just completely subverted every plot that was being built up in The Force Awakens.
To me, there was only one reboot that made complete sense that I actually loved, and that was the Spider-Man reboot where the kid was from Brooklyn. He had a Brooklyn accent. Made sense. Just made sense because that's where he's from. And, you know, to have Spider-Man talk in a completely with a non-accent all those years, I'm like, the last Spider-Man, it was a little too Tony Stark heavy for my taste, but it was really, really good. I liked that direction that they went, and they made Aunt May hot. So, you know,
Jesus, Dave.
It doesn't take
Dave
much to make you happy.
Aunt May blow up doll.
And the Tony Stark Aunt May stuff. Now that actually was a diversion away from the original thing. You know, Aunt May is not an older lady. She's actually, what's her name? Whatever, I can't remember the actress's now. Marissa Tomei. She's Marissa Tomei all of a sudden. You know, I'm like, huh?
See, I didn't see the last one, so I don't know.
We accepted it, but that is a little bit of a stretch. But we accepted it, probably because it's Marissa Tomei and she's a cute lady. And there was like this kind of banter between Tony Stark and Marissa Tomei. But that one, yeah, that was a little off script. But him having a Brooklyn accent and being in Brooklyn and like swinging around, you know, train tracks and all that, I like that. That, you know, that was smart. Most of these other reboots doesn't make any sense. So
in the next reboot, it's going to be Aunt May that gets shot by the burglar, and Uncle Ben that survives, except he's going to dress up like Aunt May.
Aunt May's going to become Spider-Man. And
Ben's going to have orange hair and run for president, and that's what's going to happen. Spider-Man Peter Parker is going to save Ben, and then realize that he made a mistake because he's going to turn into president and build a wall and be nuts.
You're already being misogynist by saying Spider-Man.
It's Spider Person. Wall. It'll be 10,000 feet tall and made out of energy, and the Nova Corps is going to have to pay for it.
And it's gonna be written and directed by the government.
You know, I liked Marvel's when I was a kid. I liked the Marvel's What If series because that way, you know, you could tell all these stories like what if Invisible Girl was killed, or what if, you know, and they had some funny ones too. You could go in these tangents.
Yeah, I think they kind of overdid it with alternate timelines and all this other stuff. Yeah, but it was fun. It was fun.
Wasn't there one where Dr. Doom got the Infinity Gauntlet, became a good guy, and like defeated the Titans or something?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And here's one thing I hate about the universe with the different is that in the comics, the Fantastic Four, and in the comics, Fantastic Four was pretty good. I like the Fantastic Four. The movies suck.
Terrible.
Yeah, they're terrible. And they had a whole bunch of other teams out there, and or just specific types of superheroes and villains. But you can't do that now with all this ownership stuff with movies.
Right.
I'd never seen Rise of the Silver Surfer until like about 4 days ago. It was like on one of the options, so I was like, I'll fucking watch it and go to sleep. That was terrible.
So Silver Surfer always annoyed the hell out of me. I'm like, stop your fucking whining already. Oh my god.
So I think a Silver Surfer movie is going to be coming up next before the next, and then probably another Marvel movie until the next Avengers movie.
That's a what if I want to see. What if Silver Surfer became a stand-up comic? Something like that.
An SJW comedian that isn't funny.
Yeah.
How can they even? Well, can they even make a movie with Galactus as the villain that isn't going to be a disaster though? Like, if they do full camp and actually have it be like a giant guy in space, a lot of the audience is going to be like, what the hell am I watching? But if it's just some like space energy or space force or just some, like, I don't know how they can possibly do it without it being like completely reimagined.
I think they could portray him as he's portrayed in the comic books if they did it right. They could make him funny.
No, but think of it this way. In comics, there are only so many characters that fill that archetype that Galactus fills. But that's a very generic, a million movies that are not branded have had similar plots to this world-consuming thing. We've already seen that a million times in a film. So it's like, in the film medium, I don't think that they can make it interesting.
For example, I've always liked a lot of the Godzilla movies. Like, a lot of them were ridiculous, but there's some pretty good ones. And some of the newer ones they've come out with in the past couple of decades have been all right.
So, years ago, weren't they talking about a Beyonder movie? Didn't they hint at it? I don't know how they would do that. And by the way, not to ruin it for anyone that's not going to read it anyway, the ending to the Beyond story was absolutely friggin' stupid.
That's the one Mephisto manipulates him and all that?
Yeah. He basically does a Space Odyssey thing and, makes himself into a space baby or something weird. I'm like, what the hell? I spent like 2 years of my life and now it's space baby. Dude, what the hell is this?
But is that supposed to be like Ascension?
I guess. Has anyone read the Beyonder stories? He's basically a petulant kid with superpowers that just get pissed off and like kills everybody, and then all of a sudden he wants to bring them back and be their friend and send them flowers and shit.
There was a lot of good art in that series.
There was some. Didn't Frazetta did some art in the Beyonder stuff? I
think he did. Those scenes of Limbo and where Mephisto's realm. Yeah. Like some of those are like, what the fuck? Crazy. Like full page.
Right. Don't you think that if they did some graphic art, like some posters and stuff, those things would have sold like freaking mad?
Yeah, that was back before popular comics were still kind of not valuable back then. I mean, there were collectors and stuff, but not compared to the way it is now.
My brother actually may still have it, the original Fantastic Four comic. The unfortunate thing is it has no cover, so it's not really worth anything. It might be worth like $20.
One of the craziest Fantastic Four stories I ever read was, they a city gets closed off by this dome and they're not sure what's up. So they send the Fantastic Four in and it's some kind of time bubble.
Okay.
Did you ever read that one? That one had some really good
It
art.
It sounds familiar. I think the most provocative Fantastic Four story was when the Human Torch didn't want to be the Human Torch anymore because he visited a kid in a hospital that set himself on fire because he wanted to be the Human Torch. And the mom got pissed off at freaking the Human Torch. I'm like, he didn't, what do you want him to do?
I'll set him on fire again if you don't shut up. Lucky a goddamn garden gnome isn't the Human Torch. Fucking torch that whole hospital. Shut the fuck up.
Torch becomes fire starter.
Just blow it all up.
God.
I'm not dealing with this.
But how stupid that could have to be? Like, really? How much value was lost if that kid died, though? Really?
Jesus. Just make s'mores with the kid. He brings graham crackers or brings marshmallows. He just, fires them up a little bit with his hand. Here, kid, have a s'more. And the kid feels better and everything's fine.
Of course, one of the better arcs from back in those days was the Batman arc, Death in the Family.
Was that that Jason Todd?
Yep. Where Joker beats him to death with that crowbar. His mom sets him up for it. It's like, what the fuck?
The real villains there were the fans, because the fans voted to kill the kid off. I'm like, Jesus.
They certainly sent him out.
Yeah.
Like, that was pretty bad. Just a very cynical story. A lot of the Batman stories were very well written. Back when I was a kid, I wasn't really into DC comics. I got into them for a little while, but
right. Well, DC was really, really dark, and Marvel, to me, I like the West Coast Avengers because it was more, it had more comic comic relief to it. And when Spider-Man had the witty banter, that was cool. But Spider-Man was a whiner. Friggin' Silver Surfer was a whiner. It's like, oh, this intergalactic world and all the powers I have. Like, Jesus.
Well, the best thing about the Silver Surfer stories were some of the worlds they invented as he went along his travels.
Right.
That was the good part about the Silver Surfer stories. That was actually the best part about the Doctor Strange stories, too.
Well, it was the art. Some of the art in there was...
Yeah, those like crazy planets and like the starscapes. They did a really good job with that.
Let's see how many people are actually still watching us, listening to us talk about this crap. Wow.
Another crazy one was a Mutant Massacre for X-Men.
Let's all wave to the NSA and CIA and say, hey, nerd talk tonight.
We're talking in code.
Yep.
Ciphers.
Yes.
So it looks like we're talking.
It's actually
and thank
all
you
about
for fucking violating all of our constitutional rights. You're real. You fucking failed. You fucking failed as agencies.
So let's see.
They've dumped like $20 million into watching us.
When we talk about the Joker, we're really talking about Hillary Clinton. When we're talking about Chester Cheetah, we're talking about Donald Trump. When we talk about who else, I'll think about it.
When we talk about Foghorn Leghorn, we're actually talking about.
Don't be fucking with Foghorn Leghorn, man. I say.
When Eben mentions God, he's really talking about TYT. That's his little code for jank.
For you worship Anna Kasparson's heels. You have both of Anna's heels like this, so you form the pillars, and then you have the all-seeing eye. Just kind of like that.
Jamoral was going off for like 3 days on something that TYT said, and I'm like, who's TYT? I mean, who the hell listens to TYT anymore?
Yeah.
It was like they were talking about the black people did something or something. I don't remember what the hell.
Actually, a lot of people are starting to suspect that TYT has fake sub count because of the fact that they can barely pull 10,000 viewers on their primetime shows, when they're like small-time YouTube channels with like far less than 100,000 people who can easily pull 10,000 people at peak time.
Yeah,
Listen.
yeah. Hard Bastard went over that quite a long time ago.
Dude, I have 200 viewers, and I think 120 of them are stoners. So, you know, props to somebody who can get 10,000 viewers. I'm just saying.
I'm just glad I get a lot of my views from the NSA and CIA, because I mean they're probably half the amount of viewers.
Hold on,
for some reason I have a
back
when I was still regularly uploading videos, which I got out of after a bunch of crap happened to me. But I had a bunch of viewers from Singapore and Laos, of all places, and I have no idea how it worked out that outside of the English-speaking market, that's where I got popular.
Yeah, I had some North Koreans follow me all of a sudden. I'm like,
that's half of them were me.
Oh, okay, that makes sense now. You know,
they're all on the most. They're all on overclocked Commodore 64s. So,
is it Kim Soft? That's what it's called in North Korea, dude. Do you know that? Like, that's their OS in fucking in DPRK.
When I see people, you know, people like follow me and then speak to me in Esperanto and then put a thumbs up, and I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, okay, thank you. I think. I don't know. You could be saying I'm the devil. I have no idea. But thank you. You know.
I'm not even joking, dude. It is called Kim Soft.
I'm not surprised.
But yeah, Kim.com coming up with a new internet with a new Twitter or platform.
I heard rumor that, again, it's just rumors, that I hope someone investigates, but that it was kind of overtaken and he's not in control.
Really?
Or something.
He just tweeted about it.
Okay.
Yeah, he's gonna make his new one.
Yeah.
It's gonna be called Meganet.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe there's just like disinfo on it or something.
Meganet dot I just took over.
Twitter competitor?
Yeah.
Yeah. Meganet dot I just got co-opted dot kim.com.net.
I mean, I think
I'm still waiting for his deposition. Like, that could have been done the day after he made that claim.
I'm still watching. I'm still looking for the Seth Rich stuff. It's like, I'm going to come out with who did it. I'm going to come out with all the evidence. But first, a Coke commercial.
Let me see if I can use it as a bargaining chip to get back some of my assets.
TYT,
to rally enough popular support behind him to like get him an audience before Congress. Apparently.
Well, to be honest, I mean, what would I'm just looking at it from the perspective of who's like, okay, what would the Republicans gain, even though let's say the Republicans wanted to get this dirt and, show, oh, look, the DNC's having people arc-incited and all this crap, okay?
Right.
So how would the Republicans, they would still have to deal with all the chaos that it would cause. Like, in the sense that, okay, let's say they definitively prove that the DNC is super corrupt and the DNC is done for a generation. They'll never be able to get popular support back. That really opens up the playing field to a lot more danger to the Republicans than keeping the rickety old DNC going. Like, why would they want to take them down?
They don't. Like, they want to maintain a paradigm.
Right.
And it's the same thing, like whether you're talking about domestic politics, international policy, the way our economy works. It's not about making things better or collapsing things. It's about maintaining a paradigm.
It's that
or making it completely politically expedient for them.
Well, did you ever see the Lego Batman movie where they thought Batman was killed and the Joker had no villain or had no hero to fight, so he had no purpose? That is the dynamic with the Republicans and the Democrats. Only every once in a while, the Democrats are the Joker, and every once in a while, the Republicans are the Joker. They just keep fighting each other. It's just a constant freaking hamster wheel of hell where they just fight. And they just keep,
So it's like a political theater, basically.
Yeah. And by the way, my first story on my new channel will be that the DNC has been discovered to be corrupt, and my second news story will be that water is wet. Newsflash.
DNC.
Yeah, until Bargesian gets a hold of water, and then all of a sudden it's going to just be powdered water. Just add water.
50% butane. Comes out of some kind of like gel, some kind of fucking explosive.
Yeah, DNC.
I'm surprised they're so brazenly just putting the houses right next to those types of factories too. That's just insane.
I mean, really? Well, there's that huge fight. There's going to be a huge zoning fight, and if I can, because I'm starting to get into this, I have to go to those zoning board meetings now, and see if there's going to be like any wrestling or people carried out. Maybe I'll get carried out. Maybe they'll Ray McGovern me and like dislocate my shoulder. And I can selfie myself as they're dislocating my shoulder,
If they get anywhere near to you, fall to the ground and start screaming like a girl, then call an attorney.
For me, that's called a Wednesday,
What you got to do is get some type of thing that'll make your mouth bubble and start like twitching and seizuring up, and then you could blame them on.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah,
there you go, dude. There you go.
Wow, the plant hasn't even been built yet. It's already happening. Something has to be done.
Well, I'm working right next to the Bethpage plume. If you know what that is, that's contaminated groundwater. That's trichloroethylene or degreaser. I've talked about it a lot on the show, and apparently I didn't know there was a second Grumman owned land, massive land thing in on Long Island. I'm trying to like unravel. It's like all these different land deals and things and zoning, and makes my head hurt. If only there was a Milan nearby, maybe Bargesian could get some Milan company to like create some Motrin, some super powerful Motrin, so my headache will go away.
The reality is there's vast portions of the like urban areas in the U.S. that simply need to be evacuated. People can't live there anymore.
I thought you were going to say evaporated.
Yeah, we'll just kill them. Let's firebomb the whole area. That'll take care of it. Human Torch it, right?
Oh yeah. Speaking of which, one of the companies that they're talking about building, or one of the manufacturing plants, manufactures helicopters, manufactures surveillance helicopters. So
like drones.
I don't know. Not necessarily drones, but helicopters.
Like a full size, like high tech surveillance copter.
I think I'm fucked. Like they haven't been watching me enough.
Yeah, exactly, dude. I'm sure these helicopters aren't new.
If they have that kind of contract, you can expect parabolic mics if you're that close to it physically.
Right.
Well, like, we've discussed on the stream before, there's technology now where they just bounce a beam off of one of your thinner walls of your window, and they can hear everything that goes on inside of your house.
So, since we're gonna go full throttle here tonight, what does everybody think about Voice 2K or V2K? Do you?
I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't? It was, I think it's linked to MK Ultra. It's basically, there are some people who say that there is technology that creates, or they hear voices in their head, and it's, it serves as a few purposes. These are
That shit's been around since the 70s, dude. And
Oh
I
yeah,
can prove
yeah.
it.
I've heard of that. I just never heard of the term you're using.
It's
Like,
it's called.
let me try to find the link to it. But like that shit's been around since the 70s because either you or someone else mentioned it before.
Maybe
And
Fly.
I was like, holy shit, this stuff has been around for decades. And it's not some conspiracy shit. I mean, it's there.
Listen, this is real. They're poisoning us. We need to stop them from poisoning us. I'm going to the refrigerator and get a Pepsi. I'll be right back.
It's called Voice of God Technologies, was the nickname for it. Let me see if I can find it.
Geez, I'm hearing a lot of stuff in my head too.
Donate to TYT.
Someone's saying donate to TYT. What's going on? Oh wait, I'm wearing earphones.
Wolf Dash Pick.
Oh, that's what it was. Damn it.
I'm just gonna drink some of my nice, delicious distilled water, so my pineal gland is fully active. Don't mind me, not poisoning myself.
Good, it makes you more receptive to the messaging.
No, that's the whole point, man. You need, like, the pineal gland, that's what's tapping you into the universe. You need to get it more, you need to clean that signal up.
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to get to the pineal gland in one of the...
Are any of you guys familiar with Warhammer 40,000?
Well, the game?
I never played Warhammer.
But are you heard of it, though, at least,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, well, what if this? I find it to be a very red-pilled setting, but what if one of the aspects of it is like a limited hangout in terms of, because here's the thing, there's all of this really you should look into the occult things related to Warhammer for sure, because there's a lot of material there to go through. But one of the things it's always talking about is how people humanity's coming psychically awake, but society can't withstand that, and there are forces that would exploit it. The idea is that, okay, so these people develop psychic abilities. Anyone who's deemed unable to be able to handle the abilities is basically used like a psychic battery to keep the emperor on life support. But the point I'm getting at is that, so they do all this stuff to harm our pineal glands. What if we actually exist in a universe where people do have psychic ability, but most people are so shitty at it or just dangerous with it that it has to be suppressed in people, because otherwise it'd be too dangerous.
Shh. Hold on. Let me try.
I like
See, I made him stop talking about it. I made him stop.
I mean, yeah, we start getting into the people who are deemed worthy type of stuff.
I'm not worthy. I'm not worthy.
But then it gets to the entire premise of, it's a society based on partly of cronyism in a way, right?
Right.
But then most of those aren't going to be worthy anyway. So I don't know. There's just so much to, once we go into the conspiracy theory route of
right.
wars between all these societies, secret societies.
Right. That's it.
Too much speculation, but
they make them dance. What the hell is that?
Hey, they don't
It's a demonstration to preserve quiet.
But thing is, they don't even need to make people dance. All they have to do is say, "Hey, we're gonna have a dance-a-thon."
No, I mean, not for nothing.
That actually wins this car.
That makes it look kind of fun. It's like everybody's just reading and bullshitting, and those two dudes are like, I don't know.
I mean, it's kind of not worth it, because all they have to do is just kind of like their conspiracy theory of the Las Vegas shooter, where they just have someone who wants to do good, the FBI or NSA, whatever, they go to him and say, "Hey, we need your help, and you can help us." And this guy's retired; he's got millions of dollars, and You know, he's got nothing better to do. He wants to make a difference to make the world better, but everything is in secrecy. And so they go, hey, we need you in Las Vegas because these guys we suspect are terrorists. They're going to come over and they're going to probably blow up the place. And so he goes, okay, I'm in. And so he ends up being like the scapegoat, the patsy or whatever you want for the FBI to do another shooting.
Let's do an experiment. Let's get 100 just really small YouTubers and just have them all go out with the story that the David Hogg doxing was a false flag and see how many of them get banned. And also see if people start to believe it. I mean, it's that whole thing too about if you say something enough times, where is the point in which people start to believe it just because it's being repeated, and where is the point to where it gets repeated so much that people start rejecting it?
There's so many disinformation campaigns going on all at once. It makes for a level of noise that most citizens aren't able to fucking interpret.
Why would I trust anyone who not only won't show his face but has some demonic symbol there, dude?
Because
who would trust a guard gnome anyway?
Dave. I'm in your mind. I'm using LRAD.
Ooh,
I don't want
device.
He's making me
I'm reading over this article, dude. All right. I'm reading over this article about this.
Anyways, palate cleanser. What Esoteric Ed always says.
Well, hold up, dude.
What?
Let me read this LRAD article.
No more of this dark stuff.
Dark stuff. Let me read this article, man. I went through the trouble of researching it.
Okay, you can read one word from it.
Mephistopheles.
Go ahead.
Well, there's only one point I want to make. There's only one point I want to make here.
Can you share the screen?
Is that the first time that we officially used it was in Iraq, and we were using LRAD to mess with enemy fighters. Islamic terrorists tend to be superstitious and, of course, very religious. LRAD can put the word of God in their heads. If God, in the form of a voice that only you can hear, tells you to surrender or run away, what are you going to do? What if it tells you to kill? That's my question.
I'm going to beat the shit out of myself. Stop talking to me. Stop it. Oh.
Well, it's like people just don't know the level of technology that our government has. I mean, this has been around since the 70s. It's been used in deployments, and yet people are talking about it as if I heard the government has a secret project where they're doing this and that. No, it's not a fucking secret project. Like, the real secret projects are fucking 30 years beyond what we're familiar with.
Right. Well, how many people feel that this is a valid question? I know all you guys do, but when someone says, well, Trump won the election, and not getting into the whole, Hillary won by blah, blah, blah. My honest question is, even better, Hillary won the primary. Calm down, Eric. Hillary won the primary. My honest question is, how do you know? How do you know? Oh, he's one of them. Seriously, how do you know? WikiLeaks woke me up to the fact that the NSA, or not the NSA, but the CIA does have ways, and there are technological ways to change the vote count. And Debbie also gave a lot of, but she's just a crazy conspiracy theorist.
There's a lot of serious concerns about WikiLeaks, and people need to start being more critical of it, in my opinion. Like, I don't think Assange is necessarily involved in some of this. I don't think that they would treat him that way if he was. But there's a lot of serious questions about WikiLeaks. It just defies logic that it could withstand this is just a general point, that it could withstand the constant attack of the world's intelligence agencies the way it has. Sorry. Then you have WikiLeaks involvement in domestic and foreign affairs in a kind of a strange way. Then you have WikiLeaks involvement in the Arab Spring. I mean, the list goes on and on. Like, how intertwined, if at all, is WikiLeaks tied in with international intelligence agencies?
I have.
And if it isn't now, by some miracle, if it isn't now, when will it be? Because that's the inevitable outcome.
I have one question. Are any of the documents that are being presented and any of the information being presented fake? Now,
see, it's a fallacy. They have 100% record. That's framing. Like,
right. Well, I see where you're going with it. Now that we have WikiLeaks is almost it's an institution. So the NSA or the CIA can leak documents out and give them to WikiLeaks, make it look, for real, and give this information. I don't know how an organization like that could decipher all of those documents and figure out whether or not the NSA is trying to falsify information from Decipher U. They've said, deception is part of it. So now that they know WikiLeaks exists and they know what they're doing, maybe they are pumping out false information.
Well, like Perseus was mentioning earlier, it's probably a limited hangout. There's probably a lot of truth in the documents that they're releasing, and a lot of them are probably worth going through. But there's probably also a lot of bullshit in there, and we have to watch out for it.
Well, as I said, I mean, they basically the Snowden documents basically say that part of it is, I always lie. I'm now telling the truth. They always, the best lies are laced with a hint of truth, or the best lies, are mostly truth with just a hint of lie in it. And you have to figure out and decipher what the hell is the truth and what the hell is the lie.
I mean, like soap. There's always some lie.
Exactly.
Well, by letting an organization like WikiLeaks exist and making it appear, here's the thing, they don't even necessarily have to even control it, in the sense that, okay, so the global intelligence agencies know WikiLeaks exists. They know so that means that there's a reliable, consistent place that people are going to go to leak, so they can spy on WikiLeaks to find out what information is going to be leaked in the near future and then make plans for it. If WikiLeaks was just totally gone to ground and 100% hidden, to the point where individuals wouldn't know what's WikiLeaks, right? If that was the case, they'd be leaking it all over the place, here and there, not in a centralized location. It'd be a lot harder to find out what information has been leaked and what information is still secret if it's people just going with whatever local things whatever resources they have access to. I think you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Yes, it's
that
being
by
farmed.
having WikiLeaks. Yeah.
I do understand the point. I do understand the point.
Yeah, I just couldn't articulate it very well. Sorry about that.
They're just farming it. They're they're farming it for data, and in addition, they're trying to use it to direct public opinion to a degree. I mean, that's a complete possibility.
So when was the first information dump? That was 2010. When was the first fall?
Well, the big, the first major event that happened as a result of WikiLeaks documents was the Arab Spring in 2011.
Okay.
And that is clearly tied to our machinations. We engineered the Arab Spring. No one's really seemed to make the connection that, hey, WikiLeaks like help facilitate some of this information. So
well, my point,
WikiLeaks devotees ignore that fact. So if we're saying that it was co-opted at that point to a greater or lesser degree, then we're talking about it was co-opted probably in 2010 as well.
But that's kind of my point. I mean, there are a lot of documents. Let's just say that people have legitimate concerns, and I think there are legitimate concerns given the fact that this is the government, and we know from the Snowden documents that disinformation is part of this whole thing. The first when WikiLeaks was really came out into the open. Prior to that, we're still looking at documents from 2004, 2005, 2006. So, if you want to make that demarcation line where, okay, 2010, 2011, we're not sure. And I would say, all right, 2017, you have to take it with a grain of salt because WikiLeaks was around for a very long time, and the government may be, feeding false info in there, knowing that leaks are going to happen. And it's almost, I never, when I was a kid, heard Jimmy Carter or Ronald Reagan or Gerald Ford. I never heard Gerald Ford talk, to be honest with you. I only saw him trip over himself. But I never heard these guys talk about leakers. It was unheard of to hear about it, but now you hear about it all the time. It's just the leaker, the leaker, the leaker, the leak, the leak, the leak.
There's lots of reasons for that.
Well, yeah,
communications technologies are all over the place. Of course, that's one of the reasons. But
right,
private interest has infiltrated government in a way now that didn't exist back in the 70s and 60s, and foreign interests were not as influential in government back then as they are now.
Do you think that started in the early 80s with Reagan? And
I think it started after JFK was shot.
It
just got slowly ramped up.
I think it actually started in the 50s, but I think it's in the 50s.
Yeah.
They're actually for their first document that was actually leaked out was in December 2006. A decision to assassinate government officials signed by the Sheikh Hassan Dahir Awais.
Now, was it leaked in 2006 or was it a 2006 document?
It was. I don't know whether or not it was a 2006 document, but it was leaked. The first document that was posted was in December 2006.
Okay, so all right. So people were aware.
I mean, we can trace this kind of shit back. I mean, it rears its head and goes back down, and we can go back to talking about the business conspiracy and Smedley Butler if we want to talk about, when that stuff started. I mean, it goes back all the way to the Civil War, and the mechanization of America is really when it started.
The Trojan War.
Before mechanization, local government was a necessity and local production was a necessity. And after mechanization, you could begin to consolidate power. And, then you started to get fucking robber barons and all kinds of crazy shit.
So what do you guys think of Trump's comment about, I can just pardon myself? I gotta say that'd be awesome.
I don't know. Who knows if he can or not? I wouldn't take him on his word. That's all I gotta say. He'll just say any stupid shit. He just likes to troll people, man. Yeah, I can do it.
God.
He just wants to just go and trigger the shit out of the media because he knows that he could do so, and it gives him free publicity.
Yeah.
Well, maybe.
Exactly it. Like he likes to manipulate public opinion, and because he doesn't really need publicity anymore. He's the president, but
what
he wants to manipulate.
Of his, like, what does he have going on that he doesn't want them talking about? Like, is there any like critical legislation or an executive order or something that's happening? Like, I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
I don't know, because we've been talking about Roseanne Barr. You know,
he's just shooting his mouth off. They threaten him, and he says "fuck you," and they threaten him again, and he says "fuck you" again. Like he doesn't know what he's talking about.
It has hints of the Nixon David Frost, just a hint of that ego, and you know, I can do whatever the fuck I want because I'm president thing. But he can't do whatever he wants because he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about in some cases. So, you know, in some cases, I don't know, you know, you really think we'd be better off with the other idiot?
The third sandwich? No.
Trump isn't dumb, man. He's just out of his element. Like, he's in a world like that he does not understand. And if you put me in that world, guess what? I wouldn't understand it either.
You don't want to understand it, really. Like Jesse Ventura says, you know, I go to the courthouse or I go to the state capitol, and when I come home, I have to immediately take a shower. Or when I was governor, after I got done with being governor, I had to take a long shower for like 3 days. So, you know, it is a dirty business.
Well, it's just, you know, the presidency has been like all of our elected representatives. They have almost no effect on our larger policies.
Question: Who's been elected? Who's legitimately been elected? I'm just curious.
It's economic.
Well, I've always been of the
controller. Go ahead. Sorry.
I'm of the
Margaret Dillerworth from Maine was elected chairman of the elementary school FATE. So yeah, she was elected. Dave, sorry.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, she's the only one in America that's been elected. I've always
been of the opinion that Trump, like I guess the election happened, but I was always under the impression that he was installed by the military. No, I'm serious. Look into that. Like if you haven't heard any of the theories related to that.
I didn't hear that theory.
You know, it's possible DHS was caught messing around in these systems. Somehow Trump won.
Oh, no, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about the fact that the military was planning a coup prior to the election.
Yeah.
And when he announced that he was going to be running, they decided to back him instead of actually just overthrowing the government.
Can I go back to what Dave was asking about Trump pardoning himself?
Yes.
No American president can pardon themselves because they can't be charged while they're a sitting president. No president can be charged. So he officially can't be charged. So the only thing that they can do is impeach him. And then if they impeach him and get him out, then they can charge him.
That makes perfect sense.
Therefore, he can't pardon himself. But then if Mike Pence is the president,
Pence could do it, yeah.
He might pardon Trump. That's why you can't have a president pardon themselves from any criminal.
I believe in past, I've seen movies in which like a president will be put in handcuffs. It's like, you know, it makes perfect sense. You would have to remove them from office first.
Well, aside from you know the usual human rights and war criminal bullshit that all of our presidents engage in, I haven't seen Trump do anything that's impeachable.
They're talking. Well, what are they talking about? They're talking about the FBI investigation stuff again, and him, him impeding the investigation. I mean,
yeah,
I don't.
The fan fiction dossier.
I have no idea what they're even investigating anymore.
I think if anything, his lawyer's going to flip on him. If anything, I think if anything is going to come out, it's that, because he's apparently. I was watching a documentary. There's a 3-part documentary on the ABC about Trump, and apparently his lawyer is a slippery Dan. So
I'd watch that with a critical eye.
If a lawyer flips on a client or on a client like that, the lawyer flips on the president, wouldn't he be disbarred for that?
Yeah, but I'd rather be disbarred than spending 35 years in prison.
But the public opinion is not going to look fondly on that guy.
Yeah, like I said to Dave just then, I don't think the idea of being an unfavorable person as opposed to 35 years in prison, I think I'd be an unfavorable person.
You're joking, right? Because Trump has enough hardcore supporters that anyone who'd flip on him like that would end up dead real fast. They wouldn't live to tell the tale.
Right.
But this is their modus operandi. They've been finding the weak points in Trump's associates, and then they go after them like sharks. We're going to send you to prison for 90 years, motherfucker. You better flip. And then they get the guy to release some kind of information or make some kind of a deal, and nothing comes of it. And this is not the first time this has happened.
Isn't Andrew McCabe? I think I saw a headline. I didn't get to watch the whole thing. So it was an H.A. Goodman headline. So, of course, it's a hyperbole. But there was something about McCabe wanting immunity or something like that.
Was it breaking news?
Yeah, it was breaking news. He always is like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, McCabe, he wants immunity to testify about the Clinton email probe.
So,
and the FBI handling it.
This is the FBI feeding the stool pigeons so that they'll squawk, apparently.
No, it's the deep state.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. And the one in the middle, the one at the back is Donald Trump because he's the highest.
Ah, okay. Well, the one in the middle with the biggest mouth.
Are those the pictures you took, Ebon, of the robins?
Yep, it's the robins.
There's some nice pictures, man.
They found some raspberries. Some.
Sweet.
Did you get permission from the robins? Because SJWs are going to come after you for not getting permission.
It doesn't matter. I'm Batman.
Okay. I just wanted to protect you from those Nebraskan SJWs. That's all.
Well, when they open their mouth like that, that's them saying yes. There's a record that they gave permission. The one flap of the wing is a yes.
Okay, cool.
All right.
I just wanted to make sure because the last thing I want is Ebon to be doxxed by SJWs in Nebraska and protested. But then Ebon wouldn't give a shit. He'd just walk out with his NRA hat on and say, "What the fuck do you want?"
Some old lady's gonna come after him with a bat this time.
Oh wait! I said David Hogg was doxxed.
Look at that thing; it's going nuts.
I was wrong. He was swatted. He was swatted, not doxxed. He was swatted. David Hogg was swatted.
That's fucked.
Now, whether or not he swatted himself or had someone do it, who the hell knows?
Look, there's gonna be shit coming out of there.
I don't want to see that.
Look,
this is just stills of the video, dude.
And there it is. No, I'm actually taking.
And Mum's just eating it.
Not even gonna look at that.
Freaking Robin porn. Seriously? Jesus.
Hey, that nest is pretty crowded. They got to keep it clean somehow. They don't have hands.
Oh my god.
Watch that.
Is it like Mum doing a poo, or is it just like a psychic? There's poo coming.
I'm pretty sure that there's some type of chirp that indicates that hey, I need to poop.
All right, Ebon, I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
I need to upgrade some RAM.
Okay, what do you need? DDR3, DDR4?
3.
Okay.
Because my motherboard's from 2014.
Okay.
I've got 8 gig there already. Do I need to get the same hertz value?
No, you don't. Are you leaving?
Oh,
who's
yeah,
leaving?
I gotta go.
Bye,
Dave.
Bye, Dave.
Take care.
Later.
I've got to go too. It's 3:30 in the morning.
Yeah, I gotta go soon too.
He's got it. Yeah, Gnome's
But-
got to get his Anna heels out to rub it on his penis.
Yep, I've got to get my Anna fantasy kit out.
Like this on his penis.
It's an elaborate kit, dude. It's more than just the heels and the razors and the drugs.
Yeah.
There's a lot involved.
I finally got my Nintendo Wii U Pro controller to finally work on my computer perfectly.
Oh, nice.
So, when you have different type of RAM speeds, RAM voltages, sometimes it will affect it. But you would just have to mess around in your motherboard's BIOS to find the lowest common denominator where it won't be an issue. So, for example, if you have like 99924 2T at 1.5 volts at 1333 megahertz, and you get your new RAM modules are like at like 10 28 2T 16 or 1833 megahertz at 1 point or say at 1.8 volts, you're that faster RAM, you're just gonna have to make it slower, and basically it'll work at the lowest common denominator at 999-24 even 1T at 1333.
Because this is what I've got at the moment. Share screen.
Okay, so your DRAM frequency, it's just gonna be doubled. So you have 1333 megahertz, with your 999-24 2T. So yeah.
Is it possible just to look up the actual RAM that I've got and try and buy the exact same thing?
No, just buy whatever. It'll play nicely. It's all about the speed and timings and voltages. Now, one thing you might want to check is the voltages. I'm guessing that their voltages is going to be 1.5 volts, but it could be low RAM 1.35. It doesn't really much matter your voltages, actually. So just find another pair of. It doesn't matter. Just find the cheapest RAM that you can. If you can buy used, buy used. If there's someone in Australia nearby in your town or something that's selling old DDR3 for cheap, or any businesses going out of business that still have those old computers or servers, you can use those. Sometimes those servers
because
RAM modules.
It's 200. So this is what I was looking at buying. Hang on, just let me share screen. It's $200 Australian.
Holy crap!
Yeah, it's expensive here.
Why do you need extra RAM for?
Because I'm using After Effects.
Oh,
yeah, the Adobe program.
Okay. So yeah, the voltage is especially with a lot of the Sandy Bridge, Ivy Bridge, whatever those generations of Intels, you just want to keep it under 1.5 volts just for the longevity.
I'm pretty sure that's what I've got.
Okay, yeah, the Vengeance is pretty good. I like Corsair stuff.
Yeah.
So their timing is at 10-10-10-27 at speed 1600 megahertz. Basically, if you underclock that to 1333 megahertz to match your speed, it'll work with 999-24 2T timings.
All right, when I buy it, I'll run it through with you.
That's expensive. Just try to find something out there that's used. I mean, if shipping wasn't so expensive, I would just ship that to you. Because I've got some a lot
shipping
of
shipping two of these to Australia wouldn't be that. I would pay the shipping if you had a spare set of RAM. I'd pay you the shipping.
Give me
easy. Yes, everything in Australia is really expensive. But let's not forget, our minimum wage is $18. So, it's not $3.50 like it is in the USA.
Well, I guess your purchasing power is really just the issue.
Yeah.
Not the actual dollar values.
That's it.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like furniture here in Canada. In Canada, we harvest the wood, sell it to America where they turn it into furniture and sell it back to us for 3 times what they charge their own people for it.
Jesus.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
Everything in Australia goes to China and comes back exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
Iron ore, precious metals, wool, even food. Gas goes to Japan. It gets refined in Japan. It gets shipped back. Per kilowatt of power in the US is 12 cents. In Australia, it's 45 cents.
Oh.
So,
yeah, that's just horrific. But I mean, I think part of the problem is people are still willing to pay it. I mean, how much of a general strike would it actually change, or would it take to change things if everyone just stopped putting up with it all at the same time? Really?
I've got a lot of RAM here, just so you know. I've been trying to. I mean, not a lot of 2x8, not a lot of 8 gigabit modules. I'd have to remove some stuff, but a lot of 4 gigabytes. How many more modules do you have? Like these are, I think, 2x8 gigs.
I got 2. I got 2.
You only have 2?
No, I got two spare.
Oh, okay. You got 4 total. I see.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they even have like 2x16 gigabyte DDR3s now. I mean, each module is 16 gigabytes of RAM instead of 8. This is this is an 8 gigabyte low voltage 88824 1.35 volts at 1600 megahertz.
Oh, there you go. There's a website that's selling it for $125.
Nice.
Delivery. Oh no, that's 8 gig. I don't want 8 gig. I want 16 gig.
Wait, so what you have right now, is it 16 or 8?
It's 16.
Okay, so you would just want another. So you want 32 gigs total?
Yeah. And then
I mean, I think from my testing, you really don't need more than 24 gigabytes for video stuff. So even if you did get 8 gigabytes total more with your 16, I mean, you're hitting that mark where the rest is just kind of superfluous.
Yeah. I'll show you what I've been working on.
Give me a second. Hey, Kelly, how's it going? Oh, hold on.
Yeah, you're right.
Hi, Kelly.
Yeah, Kelly, how you doing? Come on. There we go. Right, wait, share screen.
Can you show your? We can barely hear. Can you show your resources when you're running the program? Is it using up all of it? And you can totally notice.
What program do I use to?
You said it before. I asked you why you needed extra RAM.
Yep, hang on. Let me open it up.
Because you just want to look at your resources and see if it might be your CPU, it might be your video card, maybe not your memory, depending on what you're doing with it.
I'm not doing anything like major animation wise. I'm doing very, very simple stuff, but it seems to be Not liking it.
Okay, because when you use it, just kind of open up your task manager and just look at your resources and just see what's being pegged.
Yep, I've got. Hang on, just let me go here and then share screen and then go like that. So that's, and if I just press,
we're just seeing your CPU Z.
Yeah.
Just go to your task manager. So just right click on your task bar and go to task resource manager. Then click on details. So it'll show you how much you have and what's being utilized.
Yeah. Task manager. Just let me end that. Come on, task manager. More details. Processes.
Special stage. Oh, fuck, really?
Come on, it's not responding. Come on.
Well, I'm heading to sleep. It's like 3:30 here, so I'll
catch
you.
Right. Good night, Persis.
Have a wonderful night, Persis.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to be up much longer, but I just want to help out Ryan. Okay, so go ahead and run your program. Ooh, your memory is pegged. Your disk is pegged too. Definitely not a lot of CPU utilization or your graphics. Okay. Are you using an SSD? Oh wait, your disk just kind of went down.
No, it's a hard drive.
Okay. So it's running right now, your program?
Yep.
Okay, yeah. Looks like your memory and your disk could be a limitation. One good thing, though, is if you get the extra memory, you can always allocate 4 gigabytes free as a RAM disk and put your video up there or just get some SSD. But it looks like it's not that much of a problem with your disk.
Yeah, the video is... when I save it, when I render it, it's about 7.5 gigabytes.
Oh, okay.
So, because I'm actually doing it in 1080p. So,
yeah, and if you had SSD, that might also help. Because some of the things that happens is a lot of programs use like a temporary temp table space type of thing or temporary space, not tables, databases, but. So it'll allocate some of the memory usage to work on your disk drive. So if you had like an SSD, it's basically allocating your SSD as memory, although it just wears away your SSD lifespan, but it's not that much.
Yeah, I think I was looking at a 500 gigabyte SSD card. Just to be sure, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, yeah, it all costs money. Plus, I got it. Can you I got a Thermaltake or Thermataki, whatever you want to call it.
Thermaltake.
Yeah, Thermaltake. Some people call it Thermaltaki, as in teriyaki.
Yeah.
And I need, if I get a SSD, then I need the brackets. Can you buy the brackets?
You mean
the whole
2.5 to 3.5 brackets?
Yeah.
What I usually do is I just tape it or place it somewhere because on your inside your panel.
Yeah.
Don't even worry about the brackets because it doesn't need air. It doesn't need circulation to cool it. I mean, it's low output of heat. So that's basically what I do is I just tape it onto or place it somewhere.
Yeah.
And rest it on your computer. If you're moving your computer around a lot, you might want to secure it with tape or something. But
no, I don't. So I was going to do something along the lines of like this Kingston.
Mm-hmm.
That's only $158 for. I mean, it's 20 gigs short of 500, but it's over 20. It's $21 cheaper.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's all dependent on just how. Like for me, I do things differently than most people. Like when I work on a video, I'll move. Like I set up a RAM disk. What that does is my physical memory is converted into like a disk drive. It's like 10. It's as fast as you can have any type of SSD. But if you, it's kind of a throwaway. So if you're working on it and your computer crashes, or like there's a blackout and you lose power, all your data is going to be gone from it. It wouldn't have time to save an image onto whatever hard drive that you have. But the good thing is I'm not wasting SSD's lifespan by transferring over 7 gigabytes of data and reworking it, saving it, deleting it, adding another big space. So, I mean,
okay.
And it's really fast. So I know whatever I'm working on, the limitation isn't the disk space.
Yeah. And an SSD just attaches like a hard drive to the motherboard. Yeah. Okay, cool. Awesome. Yeah. All right, cool. Just wanted to make sure, that's all. Because, yeah.
If you ever want to talk tech, I'm here.
Yeah. This is what did you see the video that I've done so far? Hang on. Where did I put it? Shut it down. Where are we? It's nothing special yet. It's going to get better. Mind you, I have to do my own tutorials. Like I'm a YouTube learner. So learn everything off YouTube. Oops. Shit, that's big. How about we just zoom it down a bit? This is for the start of my video on my live stream on Sunday nights. I do a live stream in my mental health. So there's going to be more information added and stuff like that, like helplines and stuff. So there's going to be helplines come in here, Lifeline, suicide prevention line, just in case somebody finds the content a little bit too,
Okay.
That's it so far.
Very cool.
So watching YouTube videos and editing at the same time.
Yeah. I mean, it's so time consuming, all the design work. And I mean, it's nice creating something and then you realize, okay, that was like a 10-second snippet. It took me 10 hours and I'm going to because you start getting really nitpicking, right? Like, I'm going to slow the speed up. No, I'm going to make it speed up faster. And no, I want to make it more, you just end up tweaking it. And you want more bold colors, or you want more contrast. And
you know what the worst thing is when you've spent 10 hours just trying to get that 10 seconds, and then you actually go to bed because it's 5 a.m. in the morning, and then you realize in your head that if you had to click that, and that, you would have been done in about 5 minutes.
Yeah, I know that feeling. It sucks. All right.
I'm off to get an ultrasound on my neck.
Oh yeah.
So, hope everything goes well.
Cheers.
Let's
free medical. So I went to see a doctor and she shit herself today. So she's like, "Well, that's not good."
I've had bumps before here too.
Yeah,
but they kind of went away. So hopefully it's not bad.
This one's been here for about 5 years.
Is it like perfectly symmetrically round, or is it?
No. It's like a. It's what is it? Hang on, it's
a cyst or something.
No, it's not a cyst. A cyst hurts. This is just a lump. It's about 1.5 inches to 2 inches long.
Okay.
And about.
There's no other bumps around your body, though, huh?
Nah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, my mantees and my gut and my ass. Those bumps are there. Don't worry about that. But she's worried that it might be a lymph node. So
yeah, it's good to go in early.
If it's a lymph node, we need to take it out. So, yay me. So tomorrow, not tomorrow. I've got to ring up tomorrow and make an appointment.
Okay.
So yeah, happy days. All right, I'll let you go. Thanks for all your tech talk. It's very much appreciated.
No problem.
Let's see how we go.
It's just funny. I don't think I've really got invested into tech, like parts and stuff, for like 5 years since my daughter was born, maybe even 6. But a lot of it just holds over. I'm wondering, like, just how bad how new some of the stuff is that like might blow my mind, but I doubt it.
I watched. There's 2 guys that I watch. I watch Linus.
Linus tech tips.
Yeah, I watch him, and I watch an unboxing guy, a guy that unboxes tech, like phones and stuff like that.
Okay, I probably know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he's got 11 million subscribers, so you'll know who I'm talking to. He's got a beard. Anyway, so they're the 2 that I watch for tech talk, like tech stuff. And when Linus goes off about this, that, and megahertz and gigabits and all this, it's just right over my head. I'm like, fuck, that looks good. Just show me. So
yeah, a lot of it really doesn't matter. I mean, unless you're like fiddling with stuff and overclocking, undervolting, or just,
Watch the video of him getting an Asus gaming laptop.
Yeah,
he overclocks it, and he's duct taping fans and shit to it, and it's just like, fucking hell, dude.
Yeah, I've seen people do like water cooling on their gaming laptops.
Wow, that's hardcore. Wow, that doesn't really make them portable anymore, does it?
No, they're heavy. They're like 10 to 12 pounds, some of these serious gaming laptops. And you add water to it, it's probably going to add another like 4 or 5 pounds.
Why would you do that to a gaming laptop?
I don't know. For me, it's if you travel a lot and you game a lot. But
I've got a question for you. If I buy an SSD drive, do I need to reformat my computer?
Unless it's going to be your main OS drive, and I would recommend it as your main OS drive, just so your booting is
faster.
There's a lot of contention about whether just installing it with a fresh operating system or imaging your current hard drive and ghosting it to your SSD. I did a test before. There's really no difference. I mean, everything cleans up itself. I mean, you could have a lot of registry cleaners like CCleaner. Just delete a couple of like your Windows clean disk type of stuff. I mean, it didn't really affect anything.
Years.
Yeah.
I haven't cleaned my registry for years. I used to do it all the time, but now I just like, can't be fucked.
Yeah. So like if you don't want to reinstall your stuff because you may not have all your product keys, I always keep my product keys. Really, creating a ghost image and copying it over to your SSD won't affect its speed.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I think I might just do like reformat and just everything and then start from scratch. I mean, even with Windows, I didn't need a product key. You just come in and you go, hello, I'm Ryan Baddick, and I log in. They go, yep, you have a Windows 7, a Windows 10 computer. Download all these updates and off you go. And I'm like, sweet.
Yeah. You can also claim your registry key, I think, in your registry, right? maybe somewhere. There's ways you can find it and just read. Yeah, and there's some people out there just that have those Windows 7 they don't even use anymore because they got Windows 10, and they'll just.
I've got so many hard drives I'd like to look at before I smash them up.
My thing would be finding like these computers that are maybe 10, 12 years old, and find hard drives, take them.